When it comes to design, no hatchback looks quite as dramatic as the Honda Civic. But it's not just futuristic on the outside. I mean, look at this. The cockpit is more like what you'd expect to find in a spaceship rather than a small family car. For instance, I particularly like the way you have the rev counter and the speedo on separate levels and how they're all lit up with nice, cool blue lights. But don't forget, this is a Honda, which means it's also going to be very practical. There's lots of useful cubbies dotted around this cabin. For instance, the one in the central armrest is very big, although I don't recommend you leave your sat-nav there overnight. Also, there's a couple of cup holders there, and if you need even more drink, then you can fit a big bottle in the side door bin. Now, the glove box, it goes back so far that you can actually use it to carry things that you normally carry things in, such as a rucksack. But the practicality doesn't end there. The boot is huge, and there is even enough space for a large bag under the false floor. But if you need even more room, the rear seats fold down completely flat. Now, you could use that as a makeshift bed, but there's no time for a nap right now because I want to show you this. Now, for starters, the rear door opens to almost 90 degrees, which means it's very easy to get into the back. Then, if I put the chairs back into position, I can then fold up the bases, which leaves you with this tall load area where you can even put a suitcase upright. Now, while the Civic's practical, on the move it actually feels very sporty. For instance, the driving position is just spot on. It feels perfect. The gear change really positive, and the steering, it's light and direct, and there's just so much grip that when you go around a corner it just seems to glue itself to the road. However, there is a trade-off for that sporty handling, and that brings me on to the Civic's bad points, because the suspension is rather firm. It kind of crashes and bangs over any imperfection in the road, and means that the car ultimately isn't as comfortable as, say, a Vauxhall Astra. As for other downsides, well, there's a couple caused by the sporty looks. For instance, the coupe sloping roof means that in the back, headroom is a bit limited. If I lean all the way back, you'll see that my bonnet is brushing against the head lining. Now, if you look in the mirror, you'll notice how that cool rear spoiler actually spoils rear visibility. But if you want a hatchback with unique looks, that's fun to drive, it's a massive boot and will hold its value better than most, then the Honda Civic, it's really tough to beat.